Chin?
Oh man, geez, I think I told this story 1,000 times. It's just one of those nicknames that I couldn't get rid of. I tried when I got into coaching after I started playing. I tried to get rid of it. I thought like it would be more professional if I kind of got rid of my street name or whatever, my little childhood street name, but I couldn't get rid of it. And here's a quick story again. It was a name that I picked up as a kid playing basketball. Guy by the name of James. When you play basketball, you earn a nickname. Like in the city of Chicago and New York and LA, a lot of big cities, when you get a nickname, you've kind of earned it. And here's a crazy story. The guy that gave me the nickname, his nickname was E.T. He didn't earn it. He wasn't a good player. He just got the nickname E.T.
As
So
the extraterrestrial.
as extraterrestrial, yes. And so he kind of gave me the nickname, and I guess it's because of my chin, you know, my beautiful chin, and so it stuck with me ever since I was a kid. My first job at Colorado State, I tried to get rid of it, and Coach Miles, and we tried it for a week, and then he called me in the office, and he was like, Chin, we had been going by for Ron for a good week. It lasted a hot week. It didn't last long. Then he said, Ron, like, Coach, we're not doing Chin no more. He's like, yeah, but if we call you by your biblical name or your biological name, no one will know you anymore. You'll lose all your street credibility. So the whole basketball world, as a player, as a coach, they all know me by Chin. And so it's kind of like a bad code that I hadn't been able to shake yet.
I wondered if your family members called you Chin.
So some of them do. My mom, she don't call me that, but some of my family members do. Sometimes my brother does, sometimes he don't. I think my nieces and nephews do because they're young and that's pretty much all they know me as. They don't know me as Little Ronald, like is what my mom calls me. So
It's distinctive. You know
to
what
be
I mean?
honest,
if you go recruit somebody, they're going to remember Chin, I would
that's
think,
all they
faster
know.
than Ron.
Yeah, that's all they know. That's all they know because that's all that everybody knows. Like I say, if some coach or some uncle or somebody knew me as a player, that's what they know me as, Chin, and not as like Ron or Ronald or anything like that. So I hadn't been able to get rid of it, and it's cool. It's all right.
Chin,
It works.
Speaking of your Chicago days, Antoine Walker told me that you're such a competitive guy that your circle of friends knows to leave you alone after a loss, not to bother you a little bit because you're kind of a sore loser.
I'm
Has that
passionate,
always been
man.
the case?
I wouldn't say I'm a sore loser. I'm just really passionate and really pointing in my direction. And Twan is probably talking more as a coach because we grew up together and we've been best friends for a long time. Like he, I, Nas, we all kind of grew up together playing ball together. And he's talking more from a coach's perspective than as a player perspective. So what happens is all of them know that I coach now, and so I'm in a different lane, right? And so when we lose, I kind of take it upon myself and I take it personal to think that I can fix it. And so like if I'm doing scouts or if I'm training guys, I try to train them harder and do better and work harder on my scouts. So I kind of shut off everything and kind of have these horse blinders on, but I've gotten better. They've helped me get better, and so they know not to call me if we lose because I'm not going to answer the phone, or if they know not to text me if we lose because I'm not going to answer any texts. But I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better than I was. It would before I wouldn't even talk to my friends and Sean Marion, and we all friends and I wouldn't talk to them during the season, and that's bad. So I've kind of gotten better from that, and I don't take it as hard as I normally would. So I'm a lot better now.
When you're recruiting guys, how do you look for that winner's mentality, but not going too far? You know, it seems like even players need that kind of balance.
Well, it's the pedigree. You want to recruit guys where they've been in situations and program where there's a premium on winning. Well, you want to recruit players in a perfect world where they won at their high schools and they won state championships or they've been in a bunch of championships, because then they understand the sacrifice and they understand the things that it takes to win and to be on a basketball team like Kentucky where there's going to be other good players, all right? And you have to know how to simulate to that environment. You can't simulate to that environment if you've never done it. You know, if this is the first time you've ever been into a situation where there's a premium on winning, then you're learning where it's moving really fast. Things here move really, really, really fast. There's not a lot of time, right, to learn, and there's not a lot of time for that. So you want to try to recruit guys who have already had the experience of winning culture. So they know what that means, they know what is expected, they know how to sacrifice. And so you try to look for that in terms of recruiting. Have you ever won? Have they ever won any state championships, any regional championships, sectional championships? That's for high school players. And with other guys, and so forth, with transfers, I think that with transfers, you want to recruit transfers that come from a winning program, because you know that you're putting winners in your locker room, and that gets contagious. So
I'm under the impression that if somebody dribbles the ball in Chicago, you're aware of it. How well do you know the recruiting landscape in Chicago?
I am Chicago, but not just me myself. Like there's a group, there's a saying, like there's a certain group of guys who are Chicago, and I'm one of those guys. And so, and I'm not saying that's not, if you know what I'm saying, that's not being braggadocious, but there is a group, and his name is Lefty Boyd, Aaron Boyd. And Aaron has a website, he's in the media, and he has a whole deal, and he has a lot of marketing that say, I am Chicago. But not everybody from Chicago is a part of this particular group. And if you're a part of this group, then you know and you can say that I am Chicago. So no, Chicago is, right, my footprints, but I'm just not only Chicago. I think I'm a little bit more than that, because I have relationships all over the country and even abroad. Like I recruited kids in Belgium, kids in country of Georgia, kids in obviously Nigeria and Sudan, you know. So I think that in this particular field, you got to be able to connect dots wherever they're dribbling balls, not just where they're dribbling balls in Chicago. You got to be able to connect dots where they're dribbling balls even in Belarus, you know what I mean? And so I think I have a long reach, and it's all about relationships. So it's all about the relationship where people want to help you, and people know that you're going to do good by their kids, and they then want to send their kids to you because they know that you're going to care for them. So I've done a good job with that, and so I have a good rapport all around the world.
I understand. I'm under the impression Belarus is a suburb of Chicago, but
No, I don't think we got Barrington, we got Bolingbrook, but we don't have Belarus. Yeah.
what I understand. I mean, you don't want to be known just as a recruiter, correct?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I had interviews for 2 head jobs even this year, and so I'm not only that, and I don't want to be typecast as that. I work too hard to try to fight against that, I think, and at some point I want to be a head coach, and I study and I work hard to obviously be a head coach.
Why not take one of those head coaching offers rather than come here as an assistant?
Well, I didn't get offered the job, first of all. So
You just interviewed.
yeah, I took the interview as long as I could, and I got far in the interviewing process. But then, let's be clear, man. You get an opportunity to coach at the University of Kentucky. It's where players and or coaches dream of having the opportunity to coach and or play at. So I obviously had, during this process, I had a lot of major colleges trying to get me to come and coach at their schools while I had this opportunity, and I think I made the right decision. I chose Kentucky because it is Kentucky. I know that's very cliche and very simple to say, but Kentucky is different. It's Kentucky. There's no other place like Kentucky. There's no other place in college basketball like Kentucky. I think that Kentucky is the creme de la creme. It is the top of the top, and it's in a world by itself. I said this before in an interview. I think that it's a blue chip brand. You know, Yankees, Cowboys, Kentucky. You know, so.
Chin, Kentucky fans are used to having the #1 recruiting class every year. This group of freshmen, because there's only 3 of them, they're not ranked quite as high. What do you think expectations for that group could be? And can it help them that there's a little more attention on the transfers and everybody else you all brought into the program this year? It's not necessarily counting.
Yeah, but I don't think we should just like single them out, those 3, as the recruiting class. They're just part of the recruiting class. I think that if you take this recruiting class in totality, that means the 3 freshmen, and the transfers, I think that you would say that it's number one.
Right.
So let's not just simplify it to just our 3 freshmen. Let's look at our entire recruiting class. And if you look at our entire recruiting class, you would say that it is number one. There's not a recruiting class nowhere in the country with the mixture of transfers and freshmen better than what we have. And I think you all would agree. And I think that our freshmen are really, really good, really, really talented. It's just not a recruiting class that's heavy freshmen and newcomers. It's a recruiting class that incorporates more than just the freshmen. Our transfers are included in that recruiting class. And we're really excited about this group as a whole, not just our freshmen.
Is that a reflection of what college basketball is going to look like now in terms of with the free transfer rule, that every year as you're planning a roster, it's not just high school guys anymore, it's who's in the transfer portal, all those things to piece it together?
I think that you have to adapt. You don't have to become just that. I think that you have to adapt with, you can't swim against the current, you got to swim with the current, you know what I mean? And so I think that we're swimming with the current right now in terms of the transfers, and let's, like, the transfer is rule, and transfers are, there's an advantage to Kentucky. Like, I think Kentucky wins in that because a lot of those players, they want to play at Kentucky. So this is a place that will benefit more than others from the transfer rule. But I think that we're always going to recruit the best high school players in the country. And I think that I can't speak to our recruiting, what we're doing right now, but you guys know who we're recruiting. You guys know what it is. We're still recruiting the best high school players in the country, and we'll be fine and when those guys make their decisions. But I think we're still going to swim with the current of the transfer rule because it benefits us. Because at the University of Kentucky, not only does the high school players, the good high school players want to come here, but also the transfer. So we have to take advantage of all that.
Seems like the current is also sort of going towards some name, image, likeness stuff. How much would that change what you do, and how much would that change college basketball?
I know that it's very close to there being a decision on the name, image, and likeness stuff, but there's too many moving parts right now for me to speak upon because I don't think anyone fully has an understanding what they can talk confidently about name, image, and likeness. I think until there is a full layout of legislature, of laws, and the state and the government, and also the NCAA, and then you have the individual schools, there's too many moving parts right now, and that's way above my food chain for me to kind of comment on right now. So I think that until that is all laid out, we'll be able to confidently speak about that. But we are getting educated. We're getting educated with it every day. We talk about it every day as a staff. And I can tell you right now, there is no one on top of it more than Coach Cal. No one. I promise you. He's spending 27 hours a day on trying to understand all of the NIL stuff, the whatever when it relates to crypto and NFTs and all of that stuff. So believe you me, when the time comes, we're getting the education and we'll be able to speak on that confidently. I can't speak on it confidently right now. It's way too many moving parts. It's like the Matrix, and he's just, and then he just, it's like that. It's way too many moving parts for me to speak on that.
Talking about recruiting, you guys can go back on the road now. Was there anything that you learned from last year when you couldn't go on the road that'll maybe help you?
That I'm not a good house cat. I'm not a good house dog or house cat or whatever the case may be. That's not my strength. My strength is to be out, be on the front line, to be visible to the eye test, to sit down and be able to evaluate on the front line and communicate with the people like we're doing right now. Like being at home and being in the house and zooming all over the place and doing all those Zooms, it's just not my cup of tea. So I'm excited more than anybody to get back out and do what I do best, and that's being amongst the people and in the gyms. And I can't wait to get out there. I can't wait. There was a tournament going on back in Chicago yesterday, and I'm getting FaceTime from the tournament, and there's all type of coaches in the gym, and it's just, it's my sanctuary. It's where I'm comfortable at. It's where I get jubilation and joy from being in the gym, so I can't wait to get out there.
I understand you have an acute sense of fashion.
Yeah.
How many, what's that about? How many suits do you have?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than suit. You can't be called a haberdasher if you can just put on a suit. I can put on a suit. I can streetwear, what they call it. I can dress down. I got it all. Like I got a problem with shopping, and it's very expensive. Shopping can break you too. Like sometimes I gotta get myself together and kind of put myself in in confinement, right? The good thing about being in Lexington, Kentucky, a lot of the places that I like to shop at, I can't just go and walk to them. You can't just go to Gucci, you can't just go to Louis Vuitton, you can't just go to Givenchy and all these different places and stuff that I wear. So
That's what the internet's for.
exactly. But I never was a guy that shopped online because I like to be able to see the stuff, feel it, and touch it. Man, I shop online so much now that it's a shame. So I enjoy fashion. I enjoy.
What should we expect to see you in? You know, at games or?
Well, I have a tailor, and so all of my suits and shirts and ties and socks and all that stuff is tailor made. So I don't shop off the rack for that kind of stuff because I can't get rid of the shoulders. I can get rid of everything else. I can slim down. I can keep a slim waist, but the shoulders aren't going on. They don't have a diet for the shoulders. I wish they had an Atkins or some type of diet for the shoulders. I was born with these, so I can't get rid of them. And because I have these shoulders and these arms, I can't just go to Macy's and get a suit or go to Neiman's and get a suit, Saks and get a suit. I can't. Because if I do, then I got to get it cut anyways. So I might as well just get the whole thing taken.
I thought I read where Coach Underwoods would have you check him out and give him the okay. Is that true?
Yeah. I gave Coach Underwood some swag. I used to do his pocket squares for him. I used to do different kind of pocket squares for him before every game. Make sure his pocket square was good. Make sure his tie that he was wearing fit that suit. And I got Coach Miles into wearing Ferragamo. He'll tell you he wasn't wearing Ferragamo at Colorado State. I got him wearing Ferragamo. If you ever talk to Coach Tim Miles, he's at San Jose State now. I got him wearing Ferragamo.
What about Cal? How would you judge his?
Cal, I think Cal he's good money. I don't have to do anything with Cal. I don't have to do anything with Cal. So,
Thank you, guys.
good.